New York City. This is me and my little brother's first time to the Big Apple. I did a videography of us walking around Manhattan, downtown New York. We had a blast. This is my baby brother, getting ready to turn 22 years old. Ladies, for all intents and purposes, you can refer to him as the chocolate dropper. He's an aspiring singer, and the boy got pipes. It was dope that we got to spend this time together. I haven't seen my little bro in a long time.
Yeah, we in New York. What's that behind you, sir? What's that behind you, sir? Empire State Building. Yep. We going to the top.
It was dope that we got to spend some time together and establish our own little bond. We both share the same father, and although that's what links us, my father's toxic presence and or lack thereof doesn't define either of us. I'm kinetic, and this is my story.
On this line, elevator straight ahead.
I've led an interesting life. I've been all around the world, and I've met all kinds of people. Human nature, the human psyche. I've always had a high interest in what motivates people to do things and why they act the way that they act. I feel like that the world that we live in and the people in it, the people in our lives, and the way of things is naturally dark and evil, and people seem to be okay with that. What if I told you that the world is not what it seems to you in your current reality? What if I told you that the general population has been lied to about for years about what the definition of a real human being is, and who and what we as human beings are rubbing shoulders with every day? What if I told you that the wolves that our Savior cautioned us about in verses such as Matthew 7:15 is to be taken quite literally? Well, I have a story to tell, and while I appreciate my little brother for helping me provide the visuals that I'm given for this story doesn't really directly involve him. It is, however, very symbolic to include my brother in this project, and I wish him love and peace on his journey. Currently, I'm a contract employee for Sig Sauer, one of the premier firearm manufacturers in the United States. I wasn't supposed to make it this far. By now, I was supposed to be either dead or locked up. Well, at least that's what was planned for me. Only out of the grace and mercy of God did I make it out of my situation alive. So there are two groups of thugs that I'm going to bring up in this story. One of these groups of thugs have members in it that are family members of mine. I will refer to this group of thugs as the first group of thugs. The second group of thugs are in association with the first group of thugs, but the second group of thugs are not my family. They're not my people. I'm from Denver, Colorado. I'm in my early 20s, and I meet this girl. The girl was on some BS. I could tell she was on some BS, and heck, I was probably on some BS too. I was young and dumb, acting real reckless. Anyways, long story short, the girl ends up stealing like $2,000 from me, and then we never speak again. Later on, I find out that a person from that first group of thugs, a family member of mine, set up and orchestrated that whole thing. There was also a weird attempt on my life where somebody hit me with the car and drove off. So I decided to get out of Colorado and I moved to Texas. I'm in Texas, I go through some more things in life, process of becoming a man, do some more soul searching, and I finally get to the point to where I ask God to provide me with the woman of virtue. And God did just that for me and provided me with the woman of my dreams. But I didn't respect it. I'm partying, getting drunk, going out. I cheat on my girl. I finally get a DWI and she leaves me. This is not the exact way all of this happened. I'm just giving you the condensed version. So I'm living with my other brother at this time, and he's telling me that he's getting ready to have a baby and I have to go. So I decide to go and check into a hotel in Greenspoint, north of Houston, next to where I was working at the time. If anybody knows anything about Greenspoint, it's the hood, and it's active. I had lived there 2 years with my ex-girl that I had lost, and didn't really have any problems, so I figured, what's the worst that could happen? Well, I was about to find out. So I'm in the hotel for about a month. One day I came home from work on a Friday, paid my bill like I did every week prior, and go up to my room to go to sleep. The next day, I get a phone call in my room from the office saying that I didn't pay my bill and I needed to come down to talk to the management. It was a lady, and she looked like she was from India, and she kept insisting that I didn't pay my bill. Even when I showed her on my bank statements that the rate for the room for the week came out yesterday when I stopped by before going up to my room to pay my bill. So we end up getting into a little bit of an argument, and I end up having some very unfavorable words for the lady. She initially calls the cops and threatens to have me thrown out despite me paying for the week. Then suddenly she decides that she's gonna let me stay. She says I could stay, but she says she's gonna send her cousin to come talk to me about respect for women. The whole thing felt weird and orchestrated to me, and it would only get even stranger. So the next day, I'm chilling outside on the patio of the hotel, trying to figure out where I'm about to go next to get out of that hotel. While chilling on the patio, as anticipated, I was approached by a man. He was an urban-looking, middle-aged black man who honestly looked like he just stepped out of a low-budget hip-hop video. He didn't look like the Indian's lady cousin at all, but he did have a keen interest in speaking with me. The conversation was very weird. He kept telling me that he can make any of my dreams come true, anything that I wanted. He finally asked me what I was doing at the hotel. I told him that I worked out that way and that I just got out of jail and lost my girl and I was trying to get on my feet. Despite me telling him that I didn't want anything from him, he tells me that he's going to give me a woman, the woman of my dreams. We're going to refer to this man as Magic Don Juan. Turns out, he's a member of the second group of thugs that I had mentioned earlier. Honestly, at this point, I didn't know how to feel about this strange series of events that happened at this hotel. I just wanted to leave. But it didn't stop there. In another series of strange events, I would come to meet who I'm going to refer to as AT's signature. I'm not going to lie. There were a ton of red flags associated with dealing with her. She talked a lot. She was really self-absorbed. She talked about her ex-boyfriend and her ex-relationship a lot. And she had this weird obsession with me where she was just all up in my face like she couldn't live without me, like she hadn't lived without me for the past 30 years of her life. Outside of the red flags though, she was actually pretty cool. In the beginning, for the most part, we got along and we kept the relationship light and had fun together. Tired of sitting around in heartbreak and tired of being at that hotel all the time though, I gave it a shot. On top of ignoring her red flags, moving really fast with her was another big mistake that I made. We got our own apartment together and we even started a business. AT and I hit it off right away. But I couldn't help feeling weird about meeting her, especially on the heels of this individual, Magic Don Juan, telling me that he was going to send me a girl. I knew things were strange, but I didn't fully understand why I was being targeted. I was just getting out of jail, and I didn't have much. So I figured if it was a setup, worst come to worst, I'll just run, I'll just leave. AT would get caught cheating on me in month number 3 of the relationship. Our business ended up flopping, and I ended up taking a job out of town. And although I spent a lot of time, money, and energy into our living situation and our business, it would be AT who financed most of the business. So when the business went belly up, she felt some type of way and decided that she wanted to get back at me for taking the job out of town. So along with her hidden boyfriend, who she didn't think I knew anything about, Mr. Magic Don Juan, she orchestrates a series of events to get revenge on me for abandoning her. And this is where my story gets really interesting and really dark.